Welcome everybody to Thunderbridge Homestead. I had my little helper come yesterday. It's a teenager that I hire that comes and does yard work and stuff for me and helps me clean out stalls and so forth. She came again yesterday and she did a bunch of cleaning. She cleaned the stall out for me. She helped me move out some new gravel we had delivered and kind of in a little layer, and then we also started doing some mulching in the front yard to get ready for some new grass seed where the grader has been. I'm just going to give you an update, show you what's going on around the farm, and just take you along for the ride. So yesterday was another productive day on the homestead. We had our gravel delivered to put a new parking pad in, and I don't know if you can tell real well from the picture. There's always somebody doing something noise-wise around here. But right down here at the edges, you can kind of see a little bit. We put a geotextile fabric down underneath this gravel, and that's supposed to prevent the gravel from just like wasting all the way and squishing down into the mud when you park on it. The gravel guy that I had help me, he's somebody I've known for a while, and his suggestion was when putting in a new parking pad like this, first of course we had it graded out when we had the grader here, and pretty much the pocket made and kind of leveled it, and then we put down the geotextile fabric, and then we're put down, this is 2-inch rock, and the gravel delivery guy put it down and he kind of tailgated it out a little bit, and then of course we had to have my helper move a lot of the rock down just to kind of level it and smooth it out a little bit more, make sure that all the geotextile fabric is covered well. And the suggestion by the gravel guy is to we put in 4 inches of rock, and like I said, it's the 2-inch gravel, and he said to drive on it, park on it, and just kind of waller it around for about at least 3 weeks to a month. And then at that point everything will kind of settle and level and kind of get in its comfortable position, and then we're going to go back and put some 1-inch stone on top, and then we'll really work on a real good level for that, for making our parking pad. And he said that's the best way to do it as far as drainage and as far as something that'll really last and do well. So it's got 6 inches, probably about 4 inches of the 2-inch rock, and then we're going to put another 2 inches of the 1/2-inch or stuff on top of it. So alright, that's all about my gravel pad. As you guys know, the reason we're doing this project in the first place is because of a neighbor's tree basically falling on our house and smashing our sun porch. It was a 3-season room that we had on the front of this house, and if you haven't seen those videos, I'll put the link in right about here. Anyway, we're trying to get things put back, and we're trying to get things put back the way they need to be. And one of the things that's very important whenever you're working on a project is to put things back, or to do things how you use the property. Okay? I've shown you guys video of my front yard quite a bit, and we live on a highway, and it's not a 4-lane, it's just a 2-lane highway, but it's basically between 2 suburbs, and we're kind of on the edge of one, and there's a little ways between us and the next suburb. But this traffic in front of us, this highway in front of us, we get a lot of traffic. And because we have a lot of traffic, we also have a lot of traffic noise. The front of our property here, we don't really actively get out on it and play and enjoy it and spend time out here, which is why we had a 3-season room on this piece of property in the first place. If I was just going to go out here and sit, for example, on the porch, we hear highway noise, we have lawnmowers, we have buses going by, trash trucks, delivery trucks, you know, something constantly. So in order to make this homestead the most useful that it can be, I'm trying to develop different parts of the property to be useful, you know, even if I'm not like actively walking around and living on it. So that's why we have along here, we have our elderberry hedge, which is a really good permanent, you know, perennial type of plant that grows, you know, great berries. It's a good divider between us and the neighbors. It helps to kind of block some of our traffic noise that we have the issues with when it's, you know, green and going good. And, you know, it's just a good permaculture solution for an area where I'm not, you know, going to be out here, like I said, sitting in a chair, you know, living. We kind of live in the back of our property because that's where the acreage is, and, you know, it's the farm area is all behind us. It's all wild and woody behind us, so we don't need all of this stuff to just be part. The 3-season room, when we had it here before the storm smashed it, we would come out and, you know, be able to sit on the porch, and, you know, you don't have to listen to as much traffic noise, and you still have use, and you can still have the, you know, the extra space, and you can still look out at the property. But because we don't really hang out here very much, we're getting ready to put back lawn now that I have the grading done over here in this area. And like I said, this is not going to be, you know, walk through barefoot, play it within your toes lawn. This is going to be grass to serve a purpose. It's going to be erosion control. It's going to be a weed, you know, to keep weeds down so it's, you know, decent looking. But it's not going to be anything where we're not just going to, you know, spend $1 million and have the company come out and spray chemicals on it forever to be beautiful. We're just not putting in that kind of a lawn. So when I'm exploring the ideas of trying to find a grass to put back in this area, I want something that's going to be low maintenance. I want something that's going to be green. It's going to be easy to take care of. It's not going to be hard to establish. And it's going to do what I need it to do. And on the same vein of the whole permaculture idea, I need something that's going to be able to hold up on a hillside, because we do have a hill in front of our house, as you can tell. And it's north facing, so we get a lot of cold and a lot of wind, and it's just not a very, you know, hospitable environment for the most part. So when I'm looking through all these things, I started checking out native grasses. And we live in Missouri. We are in north central region, so we have plains to the west of us and to the north of us, and we're starting to get into kind of the rolling river farmland to the south and to the east of us, where we're at. And I needed something that would really grow well here, and so like I said, the native grasses was my first choice. Now, there are prairie grasses, and then there are prairie grasses. Some of the prairie grasses will get, you know, 8-10 feet tall. I mean, they're enormous, you know, and, you know, 5 feet, 4 feet tall is a good standard for a lot of them. And they have a real interesting growth habits and stuff. A lot of them make excellent forage for cattle and things, but that's not what I want in my front yard. I know a lot of people around here plant Kentucky 31 fescue in their front yard, or their backyard, or their yard in general. And while that's a great, I say great, I'm not a fescue fan, but Kentucky 31 was intended as a cattle feed. It's intended as a pasture grass. I don't want pasture grass in my front yard either. So what we've been investigating, and we ended up deciding on, is there are several varieties of what they call turf building short native grasses. And I have chosen a blend of 3 of those grasses, and that is what I've ordered to put in our little area. Where we're at, we're close to the city, but we're not in the city. Where we're at, we still have a lot of wilderness behind us and to the east of us, which means that we have coyotes and hawks and predators. But we're also still close enough to the city that we have Amazon delivery. And Amazon delivery is pretty nice. in case you guys who live way out in the boonies and have no, utilities or anything to deal with, there's good and there's bad. I have Amazon delivery, I have high-speed internet, and I have hot water at the touch of a button. So there's good things about living close to town but not in town. What I got in the mail the other day was this, and it is my native grass seed that I ordered, and I've got 3 different kinds here, and I'm going to mix them, and I bought them from 2 different locations. The first place I purchased from, hope you can read this and see this, it's a company called Outside Pride, OutsidePride.com, and this bag is buffalo grass blend. And buffalo grass is, as a matter of fact, this has got 3 different kinds of buffalo grass. This is a blend. It's got certified Sundance, certified Cody, and certified Bowie. All of those are in the same bag, and like I said, they're all buffalo grass. Why buffalo grass for us? Well, buffalo grass is a turf building grass, which means it has roots that will actually go down and hold this hill that we're trying to put the grass seed on. In addition, buffalo grass is drought tolerant, erosion resistance, insect resistance. This is the native area where this plant grows. So there's no worried about it's going to get too cold, too wet, too rainy, too this, too that. This grass is adapted for my area and for my climate. The next thing about it is it's a fairly fine textured grass, and the best part is it only gets about 8 inches tall. So it will be a wonderful, very low maintenance lawn for the part of the area where we're planting it. So buffalo grass for a win. Now I will tell you, this stuff is not cheap. We've had to, I think it was like, I'll have to look exactly, but it was not cheap. Let's just say that. But if it does what it needs to do, it'll be worth it. And since it is a native, it should be able to spread and really, fill in and do well. I'm hoping by the grass seed that I have bought that I'm going to have enough to get a kind of a good start on the area we had graded. So that's primarily what I would like to have in the front yard. And I'm hoping I'll have enough left over that I can like spot treat out in my pastures. Because a lot of grasses that we grow, especially in Missouri, are what called cool season grasses. Orchard grass, Kentucky bluegrass, Timothy. Those are the big ones we grow here. Rye grass. They all tend to grow when the daylight is, the days are getting longer and the weather is cooler, and they require quite a bit of moisture compared to other grasses. Then there's a second type of grass that's called a warm season grass. And warm season grasses start growing when the heat's really turned on and the, days are getting shorter again. So they're basically from summer to fall grasses. And our pasture really has a lack of those. We don't have very many things that do that in our pasture. A lot of the clovers we have in our pasture, which are legumes, not to be confused with grasses, they are also cold season. So in the summertime, when it gets, July or August, it's starting to get just pretty patchy as far as nutrition in our pasture. If I can add these native short grasses, their warm season, it'll be a real bonus for our sheep and for the nutrition in the pasture as well. Another thing about the buffalo grass, like I said, it's a nutritious seed, so it should be a pretty good thing to add to my yard and to my pasture as well. Oh, I was going to give you an example. One example of a hot or warm season grass that most people or many people are familiar with around the country is crabgrass. You know, crabgrass really kind of takes off. The prime conditions are if you get your other, you know, like your nice lawn cut too short and it kind of dies back because of the heat. Well, that's when crabgrass germinates. It's when it's hot, it's when it's dry, and crabgrass loves it. And that's why people battle it in their fancy lawns, okay? We actually want that in a pasture. Crabgrass is a really excellent forage for animals and has a lot of nutritional value, and it starts growing when everything else quits. So that's what we're looking for. So the first seed I'm adding to my mix is the buffalo grass. These two, I don't have as fancy of a, you know, bag to show you, but they're both from the same place, and these are from Stock Seed Farms. Stock Seed Farms is out of Murdock, Nebraska, which is, again, Midwest, and they specialize in prairie grass, turf grasses, and wildflower seeds. Again, it was an online order, and I got 2 varieties of turf building short prairie grass from them, and the 2 varieties that I purchased were Blue Gramma grass and Side Oats Gramma grass, and they should do really well for a very, very low care, you know, just easy care lawn for this front area for us. And so those are the 2 kinds I bought of that. The plan is, these are the 3 main grasses that I want to start growing in this front yard. The plan is I'm also adding 1 more grass seed, and I do not have it with me right currently, but I'm also adding in an annual, which means it's like 1 year it will last, annual ryegrass. Annual ryegrasses you can sow them and they will grow, but in order to regrow they have to drop their seeds, and the seeds have to regrow. A perennial ryegrass is a grass that the roots will establish, and it will come back from that root stock year after year, no matter if, you know, the weather gets cold or whatnot. So an annual rye will actually die back. It's not necessarily going to go completely away after the first year, but it will die back significantly after each year. I'm planting the annual ryegrass as what's called a nurse stock. So in other words, the annual ryegrass germinates, I believe it's within like 7 days. It's like a real quick germinating plant, and it will kind of give a base to shelter these native grasses, you know, just for the first year, and kind of let them get established. Then as these start growing, we will do some mowing, and as we mow the ryegrass, which would like to be taller than, you know, these little short grasses would, it's going to put pressure on the ryegrass, and it's going to put pressure on any of the leftover Kentucky 31 we have out here. But these little short, you know, 6-8 inch tall grasses are going to thrive in this front. So they're going to reproduce, and that's what we're going to try to aim for. So that's the 3 grasses I'm getting, why I'm getting them, and what the purpose of it is. Again, it's Blue Gramma, a Side Oats Gramma, and buffalo grass. It's a buffalo grass blend. So I hope that gives you a little bit to think about, and think about your site also, because, you know, everybody doesn't need to have a yard that looks like a golf course. And around here I surely don't. I'm more interested in growing food for me and growing food for my animals than I am, you know, having a golfing green on the front of my house. I do want it to look nice. I don't want to have a thistle patch, but I do want something that's going to be easy care, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, and now I'm going to show you what we've got accomplished on the side of the yard where we've been grading. Right in there is geotextile fabric. We have it laying down. The new deck is going to go on top of that. So we're kind of putting that down, and then we're going to put a little thin layer of gravel, about the 1/2 inch gravel on top of that, just as a means of kind of keeping things clean underneath the deck after the deck is built, so that nothing wants to dig under there. After we got that done, I had about 1/2 bale of the big round bales of hay that was pretty much, the sheep ate everything out of it they wanted, and it was just like the leftover part of the bale, kind of an old yucky part of the bale. And so my helper that came yesterday and brought the hay and started spreading it to kind of cover over this bare soil that we have now from the grading. The purpose of that is going to be so we have kind of a median to protect the grass seeds. The plan is, though, to spread this old hay down, and I'm going to leave it for 2 or 3 days at least. And like you can see, I've got a hen out here walking. I'm going to give the chickens a chance to kind of discover this, dig through it, and do what damage they're going to do. And then when they kind of exhaust this area a little bit, then I'm going to plant the grass seed. If they're going to eat anything, I want them to eat these old weed seeds and not eat the grass seed, or the old hay seeds that are in it, and not eat the grass seed that I'm putting down. My poor sad rose bush, I hope it lives. I don't know if it's going to, but with all the grading and stuff done, it was going to die one way or the other, so we're at least trying to give it a college chance. At this point, I wanted to bring you down here on a closer level. I wanted to take you down in the thick of things, or shall I say the thin of things, and kind of show you what's going on with this ground where I'm covering it with the old hay. Like I said, I do buy good hay, so I'm not too worried about any kind of, real noxious weeds like, thistle or anything like that coming up. This was really good hay when it was new. Really good edible hay. So it should be pretty good as far as, a good thing to spread to start kind of covering these seeds a little bit. I just had my girl bring it out here and dump it, and then I'm just going to try to scatter it and spread it around. And I'll let you guys watch a little bit, see how I'm doing it. What I'm doing is I'm taking my little handy dandy cultivator tool, because it's lightweight and it's easy for me to do, and I'm kind of going in and I'm kind of fluffing these little bits of hay. And what I'm trying to accomplish here is I want it to kind of look like some poor bald man's sad comb over, like towards the end of time thing, And another thing I want to show you, if you can see it, I hope that you can. Move it right over here. As we're moving this hay around, if you can see, can you see all these seeds that are right there? These are all seeds that came out of this hay. When I look at my hay, one of the grass plants I'm seeing that's dropping some of these seeds is this, and that is Timothy grass. Timothy is a really good pasture grass. So if you have bad pastures and you do not have very good grass in it, and you're trying to start grass seed for your animals, one of the cheapest ways to improve your pasture is to buy some hay that was good quality hay that has had something go the matter with it. If it's rained on, if it's moldy, if maybe it's 2 years old, last year's hay, whatever. Buy that hay and start spreading it around in your pasture. Just throwing it here, throwing it there. And like I said, working it out until it's like, you know, the last few comb overs a bald man could get. And you will have tons of seed. Some of this old hay had wet spots in it, and it's starting to compost. You can see that. So, you know, that's going to make a great bed for the new seeds I'm putting out. So you guys can see, I'm not putting this down like if I was mulching in a vegetable bed. I'm not putting this down like I was mulching anything. This is just a very, very thin layer, like a single, you know, ½ of that layer of hay on here. And what this hay will do for me, it will kind of shelter some of the seed when I cast it out and throw it down on the ground. It will rain on it, it will be moist, so it will help to hold moisture on the seed to help it germinate a little bit better. It will hide the seed visibility wise from birds, and especially my chickens. And it will also keep, if we have a real hard rain, all my seed won't wash down the hill. So that's the purpose of this mulch on the ground. I have to just do it in very short bursts, but I'm using the lightest tool I can find in my garden shed, and we'll just scatter a little bit, and scatter a little bit, and let it rest, and let it rest. And like I said, I'm planning on letting it go for 2 to 3 days at least before I do any seed. And then I'm going to let it rain on it really good before I put any seed down. And my husband used to do landscaping as part of his job, and for a while, a short period of time anyway. And one of the things he learned when he was seeding is we will throw the seed down and spread it around where we need it to be, and then we will get some compost and put it in a like a spinning type seeder, and we will drive over this area with just a very light layer of compost on top of the hay, on top of the seeds, because it's all gonna, you know, the wind is gonna blow and it's gonna kind of trickle its way down, and it's gonna end up covering up more of the seed than if we didn't put a little compost on it. I don't want to just furrow the soil up and have a real loose bed, because we are on a hill, and that's why I said I think this hay is going to work to the benefit, as well as, like I said, adding some free seed. So all in all, that's the plan, and we shall see how it all works out. So thanks a lot for joining me, guys, and for following along with this crazy project we're doing. I know I don't get on here real regular, but I'm doing my best. We've just got a lot going on here at all the time, it seems. So I'm just bringing you along. We'll see how this turns out, and I'm hoping to someday be able to show you a finished project, and to be able to show you finished, you know, native grass lawn. That would be nice to see. So thanks for watching, and if you guys like this, share it around with your friends, and give me an old thumbs up, because it always helps, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.